13 paintings, $500 million, all gone. 81 minutes, 2 men, 0 arrests, 35 years. 35 years later, the frames still hang empty. The Midnight Paradigm. Tonight, we examine the crime the FBI cannot close. Here at the Midnight Paradigm, we re-examine evidence others missed. On March 18, 1990, the museum was locked. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, one of Boston's finest. Inside hung 34 centuries of human art. At 12:24 a.m., someone rang the front doorbell. A guard named Richard Abbott answered the intercom. 2 men identified themselves as Boston police officers. Protocol was clear: never admit anyone at night alone. Abbott pressed the buzzer anyway. The door opened. What his hand did in that moment changed art history. We have read Abbot's FBI interview transcripts carefully. His explanations have never been fully satisfactory. He had propped a side door open before, multiple times. He buzzed them in. Against every protocol he was taught. The 2 men wore Boston Police Department uniforms. The uniforms were purchased. The badges were fake. Once inside, they announced the guards were under arrest. Abbott and the second guard were handcuffed to pipes. 35 years later, no one has answered why. For 81 minutes, 2 thieves had the museum to themselves. They moved with knowledge of the museum's layout. The Dutch room first, 3 Rembrandts, 1 Vermeer. They used a box cutter, cut canvases from frames. The Rembrandt self-portrait had to be unscrewed from the wall. This required planning, knowledge, and prior reconnaissance inside the museum. What happened in the next 60 minutes rewrote cultural history. The Vermeer, 45 seconds to remove from the wall. The concert by Johannes Vermeer, circa 1664. Vermeer completed perhaps 34 paintings in his lifetime. The concert was the only one depicting music making. Humanity lost 3% of all Vermeers that night. Art historians have called it the single greatest cultural loss. 3 Rembrandts were also taken from the Dutch room. The Storm on the Sea of Galilee, gone. These thieves were not random. They had a list. They also stole a Napoleonic finial, a nearly worthless object. Why take it? Investigators have never agreed on an explanation. Panic, distraction, a message. We cannot know for certain. At 1:48 a.m., police arrived. The men were gone. The guards were still handcuffed in the basement. The FBI arrived. The crime scene was already cold. No fingerprints, no DNA, no witnesses outside the building. Security footage from that night showed almost nothing useful. 13 masterpieces, no forensic trail, no leads. The FBI opened a tip line. Thousands called. Drop your theory in the comments below. Miles Connor, Boston art thief, 8 prior convictions. In prison at the time, but he knew the museum. Connor claimed he could recover the paintings for a price. Immunity in exchange for the art. That was his price. The FBI announced in 2013, we know who did it. 2 men, Connecticut mob, Philadelphia organized crime. Robert Gentile, Louis Royce, named, never prosecuted. Both men died before any charges were ever filed. The statute of limitations expired in the year 2000. The theft itself can no longer be prosecuted. Only receiving stolen property charges remain, if the art surfaces. What strikes us about this legal structure, it rewards concealment. Hold the paintings long enough and the worst charge disappears. The 2023 PBS Frontline investigation added Philadelphia mob layers. The art may have moved through multiple criminal networks. But here is what changes the picture entirely. According to Kirkian's investigation, the art may still be intact. Art thieves rarely destroy what they steal. It is currency. Somewhere tonight, these canvases may still exist. But what the FBI found next dismantled every assumption. We first read the FBI's 2013 press release expecting satisfaction. We found something far more troubling instead. The FBI named suspects but admitted no prosecutable evidence. This is, in our assessment, an admission dressed as progress. Knowing who did it without proof is prosecution's failure mode. Is precisely the failure mode of organized crime investigations. Silence, intimidation. The omerta of criminal networks. Gentile was searched. His home yielded a Gardner Museum brochure. Cash buyers, Boston gallery maps, all in his home. Circumstantial evidence, pointing clearly at suspects, proving absolutely nothing. Based on publicly available court records, this is a pattern. High-value art theft typically follows organized crime fiscal cycles. Art as collateral, as loan security, as untraceable currency. Interpol has confirmed this pattern in 9 major theft cases. The paintings were never meant to be sold openly. They were leverage. A private art dealer confirmed this. According to that dealer, the Vermeer changed hands twice. The evidence suggests it is now in private European hands. We cannot verify this independently. The record has gaps. The honest answer, the Gardner trail goes cold after 995. 30,000 tips, 35 years, 0 recoveries. In 2024, the museum raised its reward to $10 million. These call Stella, alt reward in history. Still no response. Whoever has the paintings fears exposure more than $10 million. Vermeer painted 34 works in his entire lifetime. The concert was the only seascape among them. No museum anywhere can display what was taken that night. This is not about property. It is about cultural loss. No digital reproduction replaces the actual presence of a Vermeer. Every year this fails, the art stays locked away. Here's what the investigation has been missing since 1990. Richard Abbott propped the side door open before the heist. Not once, multiple times. This is documented in FBI records. A vast social connections crossed into Boston's criminal underground. This is, in our assessment, the key blind spot. Tunnel vision, established early, maintained throughout 3 decades. The FBI focused on mob networks, not the door. Despite the suspect's name, the investigation remains weak, and we'll show you exactly why in the resolution. Why do they stay hidden? That is the real question. Here is the systemic reality that the Gardner case exposes. Art museum security in America was catastrophically inadequate in 1900. Anne Hawley, then director, set the protocols that failed. Protocol: never admit anyone at night without supervisor approval. The protocol was clear. The enforcement was not. Abath had been warned about the door propping incidents before. He was not dismissed. That decision shaped everything that followed. 7 major museum thefts followed the same pattern. Insider access, protocol failure, organized concealment afterward. This is a mystery about institutions, not just about art. How institutions protect beauty, and how they fail at it. After 1990, American museums spent $900 million on upgraded security. The Gardner was among the last to update security. This is a case where the system eventually corrected. Correction came 35 years too late for these canvases. The museum chose to keep the empty frames, deliberately. Isabella Stewart Gardner's deed of gift forbids rearranging the collection. Nothing may be moved, nothing may fill the empty spaces. The empty frames are a record of an unresolved crime. Hundreds of thousands visit each year. They see the absence. The absence is now as famous as the lost art. Miles Connor is now elderly. He still claims knowledge. He has spent decades claiming knowledge. No one is paid. His credibility is contested. His information may be outdated anyway. If you were FBI director then, what would you do? One plausible interpretation: the paintings are in private European storage. Another: they were damaged in transit and quietly destroyed. We cannot know for certain. The record is silent. The full court transcript and FBI release are publicly available. Ulrich Boser's The Gardner Heist remains the definitive investigation. Of all the cold cases we have investigated, the Gardner stands apart for one reason, above all. This solution is legal, not forensic. Law has run out. The only remaining question is where, not who. Somewhere tonight, the concert may be waiting. As always. Not for the FBI, for the science not yet built. Provenance tracking technology now exists that did not in 1990. High-value art is increasingly difficult to move without digital trace. The Gardner case may end not by investigation, but movement. If the paintings move, modern tracking may find them. If you followed this case, drop your theory below. Full breakdown pinned in the comments. Next case drops Friday.